Look around at almost any mammal built for a cold climate, and it's already wearing its own solution. Fur, built in, no decisions required. You're one of the very few mammals on the entire planet that showed up to every climate on Earth without one. So here's the actual question, not why you wear clothes, why your ancestors ever needed to, when almost nothing else alive does. The answer starts further back than clothing itself. It starts with your ancestors getting rid of fur on purpose. Roughly 2 million years ago, give or take, your ancestors were moving into hot, open grassland, chasing prey across long distances under direct sun, with nowhere to hide from it. Fur, in that setting, is dead weight. It traps heat exactly when you're trying to lose it. Bare skin sweats far more efficiently than fur-covered skin does, roughly 2 to 3 times more efficiently, because sweat can actually reach open air and evaporate, instead of soaking uselessly into a coat of hair. So losing the fur and gaining a huge number of sweat glands instead let your ancestors do something almost no other large animal on the savanna could pull off. Hunt, at a dead run, in the heat of the day, while everything else was forced to shelter from it. That trade paid off enormously. For hundreds of thousands of years, in hot, open landscapes, it was close to a perfect adaptation. But it came with exactly one catch. Fur regrows itself constantly. It adjusts, slowly, generation by generation. Once you've given it up, you can't grow it back overnight just because you've walked into a colder valley or a colder continent or an actual ice age. Your ancestors had solved heat. They hadn't solved cold. And unlike fur, whatever solved cold would need to come off again the moment the weather changed back. That's the real reason clothing exists, not as an alternative to fur, as a replacement for it, built specifically to be removable, which fur itself never was. So when did that replacement actually show up? Here's where it gets genuinely strange. The evidence comes from a parasite you'd normally want nothing to do with. Head lice and body lice are genetically 2 separate populations, even though they live on the very same person. Head lice cling to hair. Body lice, by contrast, live and lay their eggs in fabric, only visiting skin to feed. Which means body lice couldn't have existed until there was something made of fabric to actually live in. By comparing how much the 2 lice populations' DNA has diverged, researchers can run something like a body clock backwards, estimating roughly how long ago they split into 2 separate lineages. And that number is a rough proxy for how long ago clothing itself first existed. Here's the honest part. Different studies analyzing the same lice have come back with real disagreement. Some put the split at around 70,000 years ago. Others put it closer to 170,000. One well-cited study argues for closer to 190,000. Nobody's claiming a precise date here. What all of them agree on is the rough order of magnitude, tens of thousands of years, at minimum, long before agriculture, long before permanent settlements, long before almost anything else in this channel's catalogue. Clothing is, on this evidence, one of the oldest surviving technologies your ancestors ever invented, older than the wheel, older than farming, arguably older than most tools you still think of as ancient. It just doesn't fossilize, so a parasite ended up telling you what the fabric itself couldn't. What clothing actually is, underneath all of it, is a portable version of the fur your ancestors deliberately gave up. Add a layer in the cold. Remove it in the heat. Something no fur coat, however good, could ever do for its owner, the world's oldest wearable technology, and it never needed a single update. That flexibility is the whole reason a hairless, heat-adapted primate from one hot corner of Africa became you, living anywhere from the equator to the Arctic Circle.
Ah, I understand. Follow, and see you next time. For another thing, you'll never look at the same way again.